world was young, the mountains green, no stain yet on the moon was seen.
Then with a crash came a great ringing shout. Ra, boom, ra.
3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie.
It's talking about Tolkien.
It's talking about Tolkien, Nate.
The second chapter of the second book of the second book.
It's the second chapter of the second book of the second book. Yeah.
The Passage of the Marshes. I actually didn't write that down. Kind of a tame title.
Yeah, I was going to say, I always thought the title was the Dead Marshes of this chapter, but it's not. I mean, that's what the marshes are called. And Smeagol makes a joke about it at one point.
And Sam thinks Smeagol might have tried to eat a dead body, but couldn't.
Definitely tried. I mean, like, that's definitely the implication, right?
Yeah, that was what I got from it.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I tried to touch him, you can't. And Sam was thinking, like, I bet I know why you're trying to touch him.
Yeah, why would you try to do that, Smeagol? And Smeagol's like, juicy, sweet, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that was in the movie.
Yeah.
I know that because I had a friend who wouldn't shut the fuck up about it, impersonating it. He did that with Jar Jar Binks, too.
Wow.
So, yeah. He wasn't my friend back then, though, so I can claim, like, I didn't know much about that.
He's your friend now?
No. I haven't talked to him since.
There was an intermediary period where you met this really annoying guy and you're like, oh, he's a piece of shit. He does Jar Jar Binks impressions. And then you're like, actually, though, he's the only one on campus with a car. And then, like, you get a car and you're like, no, he's annoying again.
Yeah. That would be kind of funny, though. Like, he was like friends of a friend, and then he just kept showing up to gatherings, and I'm like, okay, I guess you'd be here. It's whatever.
Well, fortunately, we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah, now he's serving in our armed forces, Ben.
He's Al-Qaeda's problem now. They're going to have to listen to his Jar Jar Binks impressions. Unless he's one of the military come to invade our own cities, then, oh God, the worst of both worlds. But we're also not here to talk about politics.
No, we're talking about Gollum.
We're talking about the apolitical book, Lord of the Rings.
Gollum doesn't try to run away anymore, Ben.
No, he's good for now.
Yeah. They changed that in the movie, though, to where he is completely good, and he's turned a new leaf, and he's going to be Smeagol from now on. That's not what happens.
No.
He's already plotting to betray them as of this chapter.
Well, and you're also going to see it's like there's not a big turn where like Faramir comes into the picture and is a jerk to him, and then he decides to turn evil again. And it's all Faramir's fault.
I thought that is what happened. I read the book, I watched the movie, and then like I'm remembering like, oh yeah, wow. He would have been a good boy if only that whole thing didn't happen. But no, in this chapter, he's already scheming of a way to feed both of these two to a giant spider.
We'll talk about it when we get.
It is not. He doesn't just become a good boy and then like, man, he thinks Frodo betrayed him due to a misunderstanding with the whole Faramir thing, and no, he's definitely planning on feeding them to a giant spider.
Faramir is one of the characters that the movie just chose to sacrifice.
Yeah, they did him dirty.
They changed him almost completely, but they keep some of the lines that reference the original character. Like there's, and this is beyond this chapter. I'll probably mention it again when we talk about Faramir, but there's a line in the movie where Denethor he says that Boromir would have remembered his father's need, blah, 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 blah. He wasn't some wizard's pupil. And it sounds old timey, I guess. And it's like dialogue they ripped from the book, but dialogue referencing the fact that Faramir knows Gandalf and like sort of studied with him when Gandalf would visit the city.
Oh.
And that
is
Faramir's actually the bookish one. And
I didn't get that at all from the movie.
Yeah, that's partly why Denethor prefers Boromir, is because Boromir.
Have you seen Boromir?
Is
that dude lifts?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Boromir is very physical. He's very warlike. Boromir better embodies the male ideal of their society.
He was in the gym every day from 4 to 7 in the morning before he even started his day.
Yeah, but Faramir, even though he's a capable fighter in his own right,
he doesn't do his creatine.
Yeah, he's. It's not where his true interests lie. He doesn't really like the soldiering aspects of his duties. He was more of a book guy.
Yeah,
but that's kind of thrown out in the movie. I can kind of forgive that. Like, I understand there's simply not time. One of the things I don't like, though, is what you're talking about with Gollum becoming fully good. And then it's like the Smeagol personality taking over Gollum, and then Gollum coming back when he's betrayed. That is another example of Peter Jackson needs to wring every ounce of conflict out of every scene that he possibly can. He's simply not happy.
Poor Gollum / Smeagol, Ben.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of why, like,
he would have been a good guy if it weren't for Faramir. And I guess he would have warned them about the giant spider, because there's no other way. The
implication is he wouldn't have taken them to the giant spider.
Yeah, but then how would they have gotten inside? Was there another secret passage he knew about that didn't have a giant spider inside of it?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
I guess maybe he would have been like, hey, there's a giant spider in here, so I hope you got Bilbo's throwing hand. Yeah, here's some stones. Start throwing. Start beaning it in the face.
Yeah, well, it's going to get more egregious, too, because Frodo doesn't send Sam away, and there's a whole thing.
Yeah, so my remembrance of the movie is definitely like completely destroying. Like, this is all new material to me at this point, because I was like, oh, wow, that's weird. I could have sworn that Gollum was just a good boy, but no, that was the movie.
Peter Jackson is taking the descriptions that are in the book of Gollum as being fawning and dog-like and
submissive.
Yeah, just submissive to Frodo. And he's playing that up to 10. The tone, you could argue, I guess, that this is a legitimate way of interpreting the text, but I think the CGI for Gollum is like ugly cute. He's like a pug, you know? It's so ugly it's cute. And they played into that with Andy Serkis's voice, which is cartoonish,
amazing. Yeah. Everyone loves it when you do impressions of it. Yeah.
I personally hate that voice. But it's not a bad voice for the character, because he is out of the more cartoony The Hobbit. It's a little at odds with the material of Lord of the Rings, but Gollum's a little at odds with the material of Lord of the Rings. But no, what I don't like is the descriptions of Gollum as being like fawning and dog-like are not I think, meant to be flattering. They always
No.
come from Sam's perspective, and Sam finds it disturbing and creepy. And it's meant to sort of be like, this guy's insane.
And this guy is so pathetic, we can't kill him. That would be bad.
Sam sees it as disingenuous.
Yeah.
And in the book, it is.
100%. He's Sam. Yeah. He's plotting to feed them to a giant spider.
Yeah.
He's thinking like, okay, I can't just kill them myself. It's 1-on-2. I already tried that. Didn't work out. And also they got swords. I got my fists. It's not a winning strategy. But what if I had some sort of 8-legged ally that was gigantic?
Peter Jackson's also playing on the
Gollum did 9/11.
Okay. That's a reach. That's a reach joke. But no, he's playing on the dynamic here. So there's definitely something going on in the book where Frodo.
That is a reach, because this was filmed mostly in a pre 9/11 world, man.
Yeah.
Most of this was filmed from 99 to the end of 2000. Wow.
Yeah, think about that. Like I said, if you look at any of the press conferences or promotional material and you look at those people in their civilian clothes, you'll know it was 1999.
Yeah, and they were probably talking about how they could just get on a plane in like they arrived at the airport 30 minutes later, they're flying to another country. There was no security whatsoever. And everyone was like, it's really weird that you're bringing this up. Why are you bringing this up? As if something's going to change.
Everything's going to change.
Everything's going to change.
But no. Before we dive into the chapter, one more thing I want to say about the movie differences is, in the book, there's a dynamic where Frodo is tolerating all of Gollum's obviously sus behavior, and Frodo is way too forgiving of Gollum's corruption. Like, Gollum is an evil guy. Gollum is a murderer. Gollum is a thief. Gollum is a liar. He's all these terrible things.
He spent the last several hundred years being near one of the most evil things in existence.
Well, and he's genuinely plotting to kill them. He's plotting his betrayal from the minute he promises. He's simply saying what he needs to say. He's disgusting. And Frodo pities him, and Sam doesn't understand it. And in the movie, this is all dialed up to 11, where
Sam is just an asshole who's trying to hurt poor Gollum. Smeagol. That's your real name. Don't call yourself Gollum anymore.
At the beginning of Return of the King, they do a flashback to Smeagol and Deagle finding the ring.
Yeah.
And it seems like everything's great right up until they find the ring, and then the ring causes some rift between them, and Smeagol kills him. Smeagol was an asshole before that.
What? We did learn that in the first book when Gandalf was like, yeah, Smeagol was kind of a piece of shit long before getting that ring. No one liked him.
And so it's kind of, I've watched people react to the movie, and they're often confused because they're like, wow, the ring worked that quick. And it's like, yeah, it worked that quick because he was not that far from killing a guy over a ring in the first place.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy. But
he was already kind of like alienated from his community. And then didn't he use the ring to like spy on them?
Yeah.
And eventually they were just like, okay, we got to run this guy out of town. He's the fucking worst.
Yeah. And so people are confused by that because there's like this Gollum Smeagol dynamic in the movie where Smeagol's becoming good again. He's free from the influence of the ring for a time, and he could be the good guy he always was, but he was never that guy. And Sam sees that. Sam knows that. And he's wondering, why, Frodo, are you giving this guy such a break? And Frodo is struggling with, one, if Smeagol breaks free and he tries to kill us, we'll kill him. That's what Frodo thinks. He's like, it's really the simplest of my problems.
It's 2-on-1.
Yeah.
We both got swords. He doesn't have any. And he can't even use our swords. They're elvish.
Swords. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and we've got a rope. We've got rope and a sword.
Yeah, so Frodo, that's one thing. He doesn't care about Smeagol. He's like, he has a perspective of, we'll get into it.
I'm going off to die.
I have a bigger problem. And I'm looking at it every day. Yeah. And I don't care. I should be so lucky for Gollum to kill me. But Frodo knows deep down, it's not going to be that easy. He doesn't care about Gollum killing him because he knows he's not going to get off that easy. He's not just going to get stabbed in the wilderness. No, he's going to have to deal with much worse. And he also is wondering to what extent Gollum can disobey the will of the ring, because that's a problem Frodo is beginning to struggle with himself. As we'll see in the chapter, the ring becomes heavier and heavier. It doesn't really want to go on this mission anymore. It's starting to make itself known and felt.
Start lying to the ring. Hey, we're taking you back to Sauron for realsies.
And
hey, remember where you were born? We're going to go see your old house inside that mountain.
But yeah, it's kind of on the reader to figure out, like, Frodo's thoughts, he's keeping them to himself, and it's mostly from Sam's perspective. So you have to figure out, like, what is going on with him? How far gone is Frodo? What is he worried about? What is he thinking about? Whereas in the movie, I feel like Gollum is way too center stage.
Yeah.
That's just
he's
me.
a more interesting character than we've ever had before. He's kind of the key to all of this.
Yeah, if we can make him work, then it's all going to come together. And they did, I guess. I mean, people like it. It's memorable.
They liked him a lot more than Jar Jar.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we got to watch him die.
That is true.
Yeah.
I think it would have been great if in Revenge of the Sith you just throw in a death scene for Jar Jar too. I think that would have actually made the movie a little better.
He runs in to tell Palpatine he just discovered his Force powers.
That would have been awesome.
Lightning. Oh, Christ. But yeah, let's jump into the summary. We'll talk about it some more as we go.
I think you'd have to do that right after Mace got shot out the window. It's like, Chancellor Palpatine, I just destroyed my Force what's going on here? All right.
Maybe we could pay Momo to animate that.
I think we have to. Actually, no. Yes, let's do that. Momo, if you're listening. I'm going to send you a message here in a moment. So, passage through the marshes. Gollum isn't fleeing. He does the whole fish, juicy, so sweet song. I did cringe a little, and it's not Tolkien's fault that I'm remembering the movie and cringing a little, and then remembering my friend who kept singing that song and cringing. And yeah, this is where Gollum is acting like a dog because they're all hungry, and they're like, well, we've got this lembas bread, and Gollum's like, gross. He takes a bite of it. He's like, oh God, disgusting elvish bread. I need raw fish. And then he just like sits there watching them eat, waiting for them to like, maybe they're going to bust out the secret other food that they had all along. We'll see. They're going to stop eating this lembas bread and out's going to come the fish or something. Just any minute now. Oh, they're putting it away. And they're getting up. They're done eating, aren't they? God. All right.
There's a couple little nods in the lembas bread scene. Frodo offers him the lembas bread, but says it's probably not going to work for you.
Yeah.
Which again hints that Frodo has more knowledge of like the elves and the holy power in the lembas bread. And even as Sam's watching Gollum try to eat the lembas bread, and he's like nearly dying of it. Sam has been getting sick of lembas bread. Realizes now that like, lembas bread, I better make sure I like this.
Yeah,
because
yeah. I was thinking the exact same thing. It's like a barometer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, it's great. No, I'm not evil.
Yeah, the minute lembas bread starts tasting disgusting and not working for you, you're in trouble. So Gollum is going to go off to hunt. And what animals are there? Who knows? But Sam's guessing some sort of like bugs and just gross shit.
As a gardener,
God.
he really objects to anybody eating the worms.
And he's probably thinking like, there's no toothpaste for like 1,000 miles from here.
There's no toothpaste. This is
my God.
Medieval society.
I'm pretty sure they had toothpaste in medieval society. It wasn't great, but even the ancient Greeks had toothpaste. It was full of sugar, I think it was, or something like that, where it was like, it was designed to remove stuff from your teeth, but like, it wasn't fluoride, It wasn't going to do your teeth any favors, but yeah,
It's
you'll
okay because
get the crap out of it.
Gollum's on like a paleo kind of diet, so it's all very natural.
He's on that Liver King diet.
His teeth. He does not adhere to all of the Liver King's ancestral tenets because, as he famously says,
not jacked.
You are not wise to be glad of the yellow face, which is something you should say to the Liver King because one of his ancestral tenets is sun. Gotta get a lot of sun.
That is how he got those abs. No other way. It was all sun and other ancestral tenets.
I know too much about the Liver King.
I recently watched a documentary on the Liver King. I didn't know anything about him prior other than some YouTube ads, and then afterwards
the coffee enemas.
Yeah. And how he threatened to fight and or kill Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And also how he was arrested
on his way to go fight and or kill Joe Rogan.
Yes, but the arrest that we saw was a staging of the actual arrest. The actual arrest was a lot less civil, and he may have gotten his ass kicked by a guy half his size who sat on him and pinned him down. So he got some rent-a-cops, some actors to fake arrest him so they could film that. But yeah, so Gollum doesn't like that sun. That's why he's not jacked like the Liver King. No other reason. And they get some water here. The last potable water for a long time. Long time. Because we're going into that swamp over there. Those marshes.
The Dead Marshes.
There's a difference apparently between swamps and marshes, and there's other word. It's all about the plants and the acidity. And I'll take someone's word on those things. So they're going through the Dead Marshes, and they have a nice little sleep, and Gollum goes and hunts. And then there's a part where Sam is like, so we're running out of food. There's not much to hunt here. We got this lembas bread, but I don't think that's going to last. What do we do on the return trip? And Frodo's like, return trip?
Yeah, this is the one in the movie where Sam says, "I think there will be enough," and Frodo's like, "Enough for what?" And Sam's like, "The journey home." And Frodo just looks at him with those sad doe eyes. You stupid boy. We're not going to make it back. But in this one, Frodo's a little bit more practical. He says,
he's not crying about it.
I don't know how long we shall take to finish. We were miserably delayed in the hills, but Samwise Gamgee, my dear hobbit, indeed, Sam, my dearest hobbit, friend of friends.
Yeah, you've replaced Mary as my best friend.
Well, yeah, I think at this point he'd better.
Relationship with Mary over, Sam is new best friend.
I do not think we need to give thought to what comes after that. To do the job, as you put it, what hope is there that we ever shall? And if we do, who knows what will come of that? If one goes into the fire and we are at hand, or he said, if the one goes into the fire and we are at hand, I ask you, Sam, are we ever likely to need bread again? I think not. If we can nurse our limbs to bring us to Mount Doom, that is all we can do. And so Frodo's raising an interesting point that the movie doesn't want to raise, because Frodo's thinking, okay, we throw the ring into the fire. It's destroyed.
And then we just go home. We just walk away.
That just leaves an army of orcs and ghosts between us and freedom. And they all know we just destroyed the ring. So
yeah, we just tell them, hey, you're not evil anymore. You can all go home. Just like we're doing. Bye.
That's again a little bit of Frodo's character that's different from the movie. He's not just pathetically Sam.
I wish it had never come to me.
He does say stuff like that a lot, but he's a little more like
he's
gallows humor
action
about it.
Yeah, he's not constantly looking like he's on the verge of crying. He's kind of like, well, this sucks, and I don't want to do it, but someone's got to.
You know,
I guess I'm doing it.
You're definitely more supposed to get the vibe from Frodo that he is a man without hope, just resolved to die. He's crossed a point now where he's been given this task. What is he going to do? Turn around? Have all of the free peoples of Middle-earth hate him for whatever life he has left? No, he's got to go. He's got to die. That's all he can do. It's not great, but he's slowly making peace with it. He's not worried about return journeys or things like that. He's just sort of like laying awake at night wondering, like, will I fall into a volcano or will I get stabbed? I think maybe I'd rather get stabbed. Starvation,
but not with another one of those wraith blades.
No,
the
just
Morgul
a
blades.
conventional blade.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
What if they took
or maybe
the head
like
off?
An arrow. Arrow right to the face. I don't even know it's coming. I just get hit by it and I'm done.
That's how it should go. Yeah, that's how we should all be so lucky. And Sam's just like, Jesus Christ.
But I plan on going home, Frodo. We got this.
I got Rosie Cotton waiting for me. With flowers in her hair.
And she's like, who? So, this is where the book also straight up says they can't just go north around the swamp through Daggerlad. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that stupid map of like, why didn't they just go all the way around the mountains to the east of Mordor? It's like, you not only do you not understand scale or how to read a map, because that's like 300 miles out of your way, one direction, and then 300 miles back. The book explicitly says you go north around these swamps, you're going to run into an army. Mm-hmm. Smeagol reinforces that, like, yeah, I know another way around. Instead of going through this swamp, we can just go directly into his hands. You want to do that?
Yeah, no, Smeagol gets a little sarcastic. He's like, yeah, there's a much faster way to Mordor. You just go up north and one of those orcs will take you straight there.
Yeah.
Yeah, most Lord of the Rings questions can be answered by cracking a book.
Yeah. It's like he actually thought a lot about this and was very thorough.
But Screen Rant needs to write clickbait articles.
So do we. Why haven't we got in on this? Why didn't Frodo just fly to Mordor? Not on an eagle, but in an aeroplane.
I think the worst one, I think it was good old Isekai Sensei Sama put in the chat. There was an article about how, like, Gandalf is Saruman's brother, and once you know that, everything changes. And then the article was such clickbait.
God.
Like, I was like, either this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, or it's just clickbait. And the article is like, from a certain point of view, because they're both Maiar who were created by Iluvatar. You could call them brothers.
It's confirmed. Radagast, most important character in the entire Lord of the Rings series, and here's why.
We're not here to talk about that.
So this is when we start seeing wisps of light and faces in the water of dead people, Ben.
Yes.
Was this the battle, like that ended the Second Age, or is this just like a battle? Because he mentions there was a big battle long ago between elves and men and orcs, and there are a ton of people, just scores and scores of everyone got slaughtered. And this was where their grave was, and then the swamp just slowly encroached upon it, and that's why they're the Dead Marshes now. You see all their little ghosty ghosts, and it's Smeagol doesn't even know. You know what? No, okay, I guess it could potentially still be that battle. What do you know, Ben?
So I will tell you, for anyone who's curious, and I swear this guy's like following along with this podcast or something, because he makes a video about something every time I'm about to talk about it. And his videos are very thorough and very good. And In Deep Geek on YouTube just did a video about the Dead Marshes, and it's very good.
That motherfucker.
Yeah, where he talks about this exactly. It was a battle on the way to the Black Gate. In this, it is part of these were the armies of the last alliance of elves and men. There was a battle here. I forget the exact details of it, but I believe it was sort of a military disaster on the part of the last alliance. The Wood Elves, Thranduil's father, led a charge that that Gilgalad and Elendil were against, and
classic Wood Elf.
He led this charge, and they had to reinforce. Or like a solid chunk of their army was going to be obliterated, and it was kind of a disaster. But they were able to sort of salvage it and push on to the Black Gate.
Did Thranduil's dad die?
I don't know if this is the battle he died in.
So after this battle, which was it sounds like a shit show. He was like, God, all right, we're gonna have to save face. Let's go find some innocent dwarves to throw in our prison cells. Thranduil, remember this. Whenever you need to put some dwarves away for no reason, you can, because you're the king.
So all of these people were massacred here. Some of them, the Dead Marshes existed at the time. They're sort of a buffer zone between Mordor and the Westerlands. And they're around the Black Gate, which is one of the only ways really into Mordor. Like if you're an army and you need to get into
just
Mordor,
go all the way east 300 miles and then circle around.
Well, but I mean,
how
even
hard could it be
to get through the to get through the mountains? This is like sort of the only point you can try to force your way through. So the marshes existed at this time. Bodies fell into the marshes. The battle happened. I believe as people were coming back, they did try to give proper burials to the elves and men who fell. But then the marshes continued creeping forward over time and sucked in those graves as well. And they have expanded significantly since the Second Age. So now they have the bodies of those who fell and lay in the marsh, as well as it's absorbed the graveyard that was built outside its boundaries initially. And yeah, it's got these little like will-o'-the-wisp candles that light. They're corpse candles, Gollum says. And you shouldn't look at the faces when the candles are lit. And this is...
And you can't eat them either.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the big change from the movie, because Sam falls down like he does in the movie, and he sees the face. Now, he describes it as looking a little different. He describes it... let me see. I'll just use the words. For a moment, the water below him looked like some window glazed with grimy glass, through which he was peering. Wrenching his hands out of the bog, he sprang back with a cry. Those are dead things, dead faces in the water. And Sam's asking like what they are. Gollum tells him it's these corpse candles. Frodo is sort of like in and out in a trance-like state, where he says, I have seen them too in the pools when the candles were lit. They lie in all the pools, pale faces, deep, deep under the dark water. I saw them, grim faces and evil, noble faces and sad. Many faces, proud and fair, and weeds in their silver hair. But all foul, all rotting, all dead. A fell light is in them. And this is where Gollum's like, yeah, it's from the battle. Marsh is always looking for new bodies. But you can never get to them. You know, I've tried. I've gone down pretty deep, and they're never there. And Sam's like, why would you do that? And Gollum's like, don't worry about why I do things.
Yeah.
None of your business, man. I'll eat an orc. I'll eat an orc preserved in a peat bog. It's like jerky, man.
Yeah.
I'd eat the elves, but they taste like shit.
So take that, Sam.
Yeah.
Hey, not all of us have magical bread, and your bread sucks, by the way.
Yeah. But so that's a big difference. So in the movie, Frodo falls in, and ghosts try to pull him down. And I guess that's because nothing exciting had happened for like 20 minutes in the movie at that point, so something needed to happen. And
yeah, we can't just have people walking.
This wasn't creepy enough. Just had the idea that there's these... corpse candles are pretty creepy. You know, I'm a bit of a connoisseur of horror stuff, and I'll tell you, when somebody tells you don't look at the faces when the candles are lit, I'd listen to that. That's creepy. That's creepy enough. But yeah, they're not ghosts. They're not wraiths trying to pull people down. But there's a couple of things going on here.
Yes,
I would say... What?
Speaking of wraiths.
Well, yeah. Before that, though, a couple of things. I think there's something interesting going on with Frodo being in such a dreamlike state, and I'm going to point back to Frodo having been stabbed with that Morgul blade. I think it's, again, maybe a combination of being the ring bearer, being stabbed with that Morgul blade, and knowing a bit more about like lore than Sam and Gollum do. Is Frodo's got a toe in this world, and he can kind of sense something of the spirit world being off here. I don't know if the implication in the movie is that these are trapped souls, I don't know that that's the case. That's certainly complicated, like lore wise. In Deep Geek talks about there might be some magic holding the souls here, and I think that's a valid hypothesis. But I also think it could just be memory. If we'll eventually get into this,
because we all know orcs don't have souls, you know.
Well, we'll eventually get into this on like Words About Occult books. But have you ever heard of the stone tape hypothesis?
No.
Basically, certain features of the natural environment. There's a theory that ghosts might not actually be the wandering souls of the dead, but rather that our world can somehow absorb psychic impressions.
Hey, that's a little less stupid, I think.
Yeah, it can absorb psychic impressions of traumatic events, and if you're near that in the right conditions as a fellow human being, you can sense what your fellow human beings went through here, that there's just some leftover energy. And I think there's a little bit of that. Now there's obviously some, when he talks about a fell light being on them, there is some dark magic. I think Sauron is doing something to grow these swamps because they're advantageous to him. They create an additional boundary. But I think
that's nice. He's going out there and tending to it.
I think he's pouring
wetlands.
I think he's pouring like malice into it. And
I was hoping he was pouring water into it.
No, and I think the faces and the lights and all that, it's this horror that happened here, and he's using that. And the lights, the goal is like a will-o'-the-wisp, to lead you astray and to let the swamp kill you. I don't think it's literally a ghost is going to pull you down and drown you. It's you're going to be lost and turned around and eventually die of exposure or something.
Yeah, this place is all dead. There's nothing to eat here.
Yeah. So I think that's what this is about. But Smeagol knows safe paths, so yes. Now, speaking of wraiths.
Yeah, the ring wraiths may show up a lot more than I remember them, because the movie, after they get hit by that wave, I don't think you see them very much at all until the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, right?
No, not really. You do get a glimpse at them riding dragons, or not the dragons, the winged beasts, the fell beasts, or whatever. I think one of the big things is we spend a lot more time in Rohan in the book, and I think I haven't done the math to actually line up how many days it's been since the breaking of the Fellowship, but I do feel like some of these wraiths sightings coincide with some of what's going on in Rohan. Like, I think one of these wraith sightings is a response to Pippin looking into the Orthanc stone, where he's like, "I'm going to send somebody out right now to come get you." And then Frodo sees a wraith hauling ass.
Yeah, there's 2 sightings, I believe, in this chapter. So probably the second one was in response to Pippin.
Yeah.
And everyone, of course, freaks the fuck out to the point where Gollum doesn't want to get up and move, short of Frodo threatening him if you don't get up.
I think that's an interesting point that is removed from the movie, because it damages that puppy Smeagol thing if Frodo pulls a sword and threatens to kill him. Yeah, because you got to keep in mind too, Gollum is severely traumatized by the torture he experienced in Mordor. He has met the Witch King. He has met Sauron. He does not want to meet them again. And Gollum is convinced that these wraiths keep appearing over them because they know we're here.
Yeah.
Which is not an entirely unreasonable assumption. And
why doesn't he come down and fight me then?
And so he won't move. Frodo tries it the nice way. He tries to like bribe him and be kind and everything. And then he's like, "No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere." And then Frodo draws Sting and says, "Actually, you are." And Gollum at knife point has to lead them on now. If that had happened in the movie, I think you can imagine how that would complicate things.
Yeah, then it's not just a misunderstanding between bros.
No, Frodo knows that Gollum is not going to help him destroy the ring.
No, absolutely not. Why would he ever believe that?
Well, and could Gollum even do that if he wanted to? Frodo does not trust his promise. Frodo knows what the ring does to you better than anyone. And so he knows that this ends eventually. But
Nope,
he's
sorry. I have to destroy the one thing that is that I've been obsessed about for hundreds of years that has its hooks in me because I made a promise.
Well,
if you untie me, I be good boy.
And I think both Frodo and Gollum sense that when the ring is destroyed, the thing that is keeping Gollum alive is gone.
Yeah, Bilbo aged pretty rapidly after he let go of the ring. Gollum is significantly older.
Actually, he didn't. That's the movie. Bilbo has not aged significantly yet. Bilbo will age significantly when the ring is destroyed. The power, all of these people have been corrupted by the rings. That's why the wraiths are still going.
That
even
makes
though
sense.
so
see, the movie keeps throwing me off.
Yeah. Now I understand that change for the movie because like they need to show that it was the they can't just tell you like.
But then
what the
yeah,
ring
that'd be a
does.
good point.
Yeah.
Gollum would be dead by now. He doesn't have the ring. He would have died before Sauron ever got a hold of him because he's significantly older.
Yeah. But yeah. So I think that that's an important thing is that Gollum senses that he's at the very least he's nothing without the ring. If this thing goes, he's done.
So he's a lot like the elves that he hates so much.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of there's an interesting thing there of the elves were blessed by the gods. The elves maybe don't necessarily deserve all this holy power they have, but Galadriel made that lembas bread, and Galadriel had seen the light of the two trees in Valinor, and so no matter what mistakes she may have made, she still has some holy power. But in the Silmarillion, we'll talk. Some elves do lose that blessing. But there's another interesting thing.
I was gonna say I don't have anything else except for the end where he's debating about how do we get rid of these two to get my ring back.
I have a couple more things. So we do start to see the fatigue setting in, where Frodo is lagging farther and farther behind. Sam eventually has to walk behind him to like sort of shove him along. There's a interesting paragraph here that I think Peter Jackson again adapts very literally. In fact, with every step towards the gates of Mordor, Frodo felt the ring on its chain about his neck grow more burdensome. He was now beginning to feel it as an actual weight dragging him earthwards. But far more he was troubled by the eye, so he called it himself. It was more than the drag of the ring that made him cower and stoop as he walked. The eye. And he's defining the eye as this, not a literal eye. The horrible growing sense of a hostile will that strove with great power to pierce all shadows of cloud and earth and flesh, and to see you, to pin you.
I did write this down.
Under its deadly gaze, naked, immovable.
Yeah, I wrote the eye, and then I assumed that you'd give more clarity because it is not a literal eye, because he is not just an eye.
Frodo, this is the interesting thing. Frodo knew just where the present habitation and heart of that will now was, as certainly as a man can tell the direction of the sun with his eyes shut. So that's what the eye is to Frodo. It is the presence of Sauron, the mind of Sauron seeking him, seeking the ring, seeking all knowledge of everything. And that presence is so powerful, with his eyes closed, he could point in the direction of where Sauron currently is. Sauron is as big an influence on his world now as the sun. And I will say Elijah Wood does a good job of trying to act out that feeling. He's not given a lot of lines to explain it, so he has to try to show it. He has to try to like physically stoop.
He's a giant eye.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it, Ben. He's just a big ol' eye.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you lose most of your power. You have to just manifest as some sort of eye monster. Except for he wasn't an eye monster in the Hobbit prequel.
No.
So at some point between the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, he just decided that having no body and just being an eye was a more advantageous position.
Peter Jackson has a tough job there, I'm willing to grant. I don't know how you would adapt this, because for a long time it was considered an unadaptable book. A lot of people had the chance to take a shot at making a movie, and they didn't. Peter Jackson finally did. He did a pretty good job. But it is funny. I watch people react to the movie every now and then, and it is funny to see the things they're confused on are almost always his changes.
Why did the ring wraiths not notice that Frodo was right in front of them in the two towers? Well, that was in the book, actually. That whole scene. Or like, why didn't they immediately sense him when he crossed into Mordor? Well, it's not how it works.
Yeah. And the eye thing is one of those things where when he literally says, I think Gandalf literally says that he hasn't taken form yet, but if he has the ring, he can come back to life. I think that's a gross oversimplification of what's going on, but a gross oversimplification may be needed to get the movie going, because there's just so much.
It's so dense.
Lore.
Every single frame
has so many references to the Silmarillion. And I also wanted to note, they do eventually find their way through the Dead Marshes. They come to the desolation that lay before Mordor. And this is how Tolkien describes that. The lasting monument to the dark labor of its slaves that should endure when all their purposes were made void. A land defiled, diseased beyond all healing, unless the great sea should enter and wash it with oblivion. Sam says he feels sick. This is Sam the gardener. Sam, the one who likes green growing things, who is seeing nothing but industrial waste and refuse. It's just huge poisoned oily pools,
just like
piles.
That car in the background.
Yeah Huge poisoned oily pools, discarded piles of slag, just all the industrial waste of Mordor. He just throws it out.
Sauron isn't pouring his malice into this. He is just dumping.
Well, it's kind of malice.
We probably need to get the EPA on him.
Yeah, I guess now we can talk about Gollum.
Yeah. He's a good boy now, Ben. He is plotting on feeding them to a giant spider monster, but he's a good boy. If only Faramir wasn't such a jerk to him.
What changes Gollum's mind here is, or what forces Gollum's hand, I should say, is not necessarily that he has been abused, but that they are going to destroy the ring, or they're going to try, and they're almost certainly going to fail, and they're just going to deliver the ring back to Sauron, where Gollum will never see it again and will be fully dominated by Sauron. And Gollum sort of understandably doesn't want that to happen. Gollum's choice is actually more of a logical one. He does not believe in this mission, that even Frodo doesn't really believe in.
Yeah, I'm gonna protect the ring by taking it back deep within the earth, my little cave. I'm keeping the precious safe. It's stupid to go into his house. He's just gonna find us. And in fact, he knows where we are already because the ring wraiths keep flying overhead, so, he's gonna get us sooner or later.
Yeah, so Gollum is plotting his treachery. And the interesting thing is Gollum's ambitions are getting bigger. He says, "No, sweet one, see my precious, if we has it, then we can escape even from him. Perhaps we grows very strong, stronger than the wraiths. Lord Smeagol, Gollum the Great, the Gollum." He's starting to think domination. He's starting to realize the true power of the ring is not just to become invisible and kill orcs. He's starting to turn his mind towards domination.
Hell yeah. Smeagol is going to rule over Mordor. How would that work? Like, he gets strong enough and he's like, all right, Witch King, go kick Sauron's ass. Get him.
It's a delusion.
What? You're saying
this
has no basis in reality? He's got this, man. He just has to keep using the attune feature to attune to the ring.
There is a letter of Tolkien's I wanted to bring up. It is letter 246 for people who are keeping track. And he talks about Frodo's failure when he ultimately keeps the ring. So Tolkien talks about what would happen if Frodo had kept it and tried to dominate. And he says that Sauron sent at once the ring wraiths. They were naturally fully instructed and in no way deceived as to the real lordship of the ring. The wearer would not be invisible to them, but the reverse, and the more vulnerable to their weapons. But the situation was different now to that under Weathertop, where Frodo acted merely in fear and wished only to use in vain the ring's subsidiary power of conferring invisibility. He had grown since then. Would they have been immune from its power if he had claimed it as an instrument of command and domination? Not wholly. I do not think they could have attacked him with violence, nor laid hand upon him or taken him captive. They would have obeyed or feigned to obey any minor commands of his that did not interfere with their errand laid upon them by Sauron, who still, through their 9 rings which he held, had primary control of their wills. That errand was to remove Frodo from the crack. Once he lost the power or opportunity to destroy the ring, the end could not be in doubt, saving help from the outside. So, Frodo would have been able to command the ring wraiths in some small way. And so...
Yeah, remember when you were trying to command me? Back at that ford, you fuck? Tables have turned now!
Yeah. So, could Smeagol command the ring wraiths? Yeah, maybe in the same way.
But I guess the Witch King was dead at that point, so...
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So, I guess I can't gloat to the Witch King. I guess I'll have to pick on one of you other guys.
But, yeah, Smeagol would... I don't think they could kill him, but the implication is that they would not... they would still remain loyal to Sauron. They're just not going to be able to directly attack him. They'll just manipulate him into circumstances where Sauron can capture him himself and rip the ring off his hand. We can't get rid of him.
Well, come here, Smeagol, my lord. Let's go and hang out with these 2,000 orcs down below who are going to coronate you as king, for sure.
And then Sauron will just walk down himself, punch Smeagol in the face, and take the ring. Like, he's still a big guy, you know.
he is a big guy. Bam.
But
No, I just could the orcs hurt him?
Maybe.
Maybe. So it'd have to be Sauron himself that would do the deed.
I think Sauron would probably choose to allow Smeagol to think he was in charge. I think the orcs would be torn.
Oh, he would act like Smeagol is right now. You know, oh yes, Master Smeagol.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bam! He'd punch him, break his entire face with one punch, and be like, I'll be taking this now.
Ultimately, whoever claims the ring for themselves will have to kill Sauron. And that, even with the ring, is a task well beyond Frodo, well beyond Smeagol.
Yeah, it'd have to be Gandalf,
Galadriel. Yeah, those are your options, kind of.
Maybe Elrond.
Saruman obviously thought he might be able to do it.
But we've all seen... no.
So Sam sees Gollum talking to himself, much like he does eventually in the movies. And Gollum is talking to himself in this one, and he's about to choke Frodo. He's about to jump on Frodo and kill him in his sleep. And Sam's like, oh shit, okay, gotta stop listening now. And he doesn't start beating the shit out of Gollum and causing a huge weird scene. Sam actually does something subtle. Something warned him to be careful and not to reveal what he had overheard. He let out a loud sigh and gave a huge yawn. What time is it? And Smeagol's like, oh shit, it's no, you guys are slept all through the night day. What? Yeah, no, everything's fine. And then another ring wraith shoots out and goes with all speed towards the west. And that is when Gollum's like, I'm not going another step. They're onto us. And that's when Frodo pulls his sword and he's like, to the Black Gate, please. And that's where the chapter ends.
Yeah. It's a lot shorter than we made it out to be, but...
Well, there's a lot to talk about. There's, especially when you factor in the differences in the movie are not like substantial plot wise, but there's a lot of tone that, and this is where I say I don't necessarily love that the Peter Jackson movies, I pick on them a lot. I don't love that they're the interpretation that has become solidified in public opinion, because they are simply one interpretation, and I don't think they're a particularly true to the lore interpretation. I think they actually, Peter Jackson inserts many of his own themes and morals and takes away from those that Tolkien was trying to convey. And in that sense, I don't think it adapts the story particularly well in places. Like, I think if you adapt a story, it should, at the very least, the message should be kind of the same. Unless you're trying to do some like weird, highly specific interpretation, like you're doing a feminist reading of Shakespeare or something like that. Like, all I ever see in the interviews is Peter Jackson talking about his slavish devotion to the books, how there were so many copies of the books on set and people were just reading the books all the time. And the book was his Bible and everything he did was based on the book. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess, but you're obviously not on board with some of these themes. Like, you obviously don't care about the theological stuff Tolkien's doing. You obviously don't care about some of the complicated, like, medieval morality stuff Tolkien's doing. You're just focused on like an anti-war message, and it's...
Yeah, because, well, again, wait a minute. 9/11 didn't even happen. Huh. Weird.
So there's one other letter I want to mention before we go, and that is a letter that is mentioned in that In Deep Geek video as well. I thought of it too. This guy just keeps beating me to the punch. But it is letter 226.
Copying our homework. Now we know how to feels after we did that to Unsighted.
Yep. Letter 226. Somebody asks if the World War, the Second World War or the First World War, if they were any inspiration for Lord of the Rings. And Tolkien answers in his characteristic "I hate allegory" stance. He says, personally, I do not think that either the war and, of course, not the atomic bomb. He really hated that one. He really hated that people thought the ring was an allegory for the atomic bomb. He talks about that a lot. He does not think that either war had any influence on either the plot or the manner of its unfolding. But he concedes that perhaps in landscape, the Dead Marshes and the approaches to the Moranon owe something to northern France after the Battle of the Somme. And then he says they owe more to William Morris and his Huns and Romans, as in the House of the Wolfings or the Roots of the Mountain. The Roots of the Mountains. The House of the Wolfings and the Roots of the Mountains are two fantasy books that came before Lord of the Rings that Tolkien quite liked. But he does say that the Dead Marshes are somewhat inspired by the wonderful time he spent in the trenches in the Battle of the Somme. To give you some idea.
I can see that.
And I was thinking that myself as you read it. It's one of those chapters where the descriptions are just a little too specific. Like the consistency and color of the mud that Sam falls into as he sees his first dead face. There's something about the description of that where I'm like, this is a memory, not an imagination. I personally think Tolkien does put more of his memories of the war into the books than maybe he himself realizes. I can picture Tolkien a few times writing with like 1,000-yard stare on his face. Who am I to say? I wasn't there. And I never want to be there.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
I've got an anxiety condition with just what I got going on now. If I had to go to the trenches of the Somme, I think when I came back, I'm just staying inside. I'm done now. That's all the life I need to live. But all right. So that's it for this episode of Talking About Tolkien. Next time, we'll come back with The Black Gate is Closed.
Gasp.
The road goes ever on and on, down from the door which began. Now far ahead the road is gone, and I must follow it, if I can, pursuing it with eager feet until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet. And whither then, I cannot say.